think you can continue. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jaroslav. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm Marco Camerinesi, co-founder and sales director of Cyber Revolution, the company that has patented the technology called LECS, where we are talking about today in this session. Just a quick words about who is Cyber Revolution, that found his foundation in 2018, and in 2020 we grant Italian patent, and after we extended it in a European patent, and after international PCT extension. In 2022, we had a first investment round with our government that allow us to start our distribution of the product in 8 countries. And to date, thanks to Softprom also, we are present with distribution contract in 19 countries in Europe and also non-Europe countries. In 2024, we closed another round with our government and the addition of Azimuth Venture Capital. And actually, in 2025, by December, we will open a new national research and development center here in Italy. And of course, we are continuous grow with our internationalization process. We won a lot of awards during our periods, but today we are not going to talk about our awards, but why we are here. The mission of Cyber Revolution was to innovate the future of cybersecurity, providing an accessible, automatic, and universal response. Why this? Our background coming from an offensive security, starting from before COVID, before everything today bring the security so hype. And from this scenario, we saw how the company has the internal of their network very uncovered. Why? Because of course we know we found in companies the traditional measures of security, like everyone knows, like firewall, NDR, XDR solution, but no one was analyzing the internal traffic, so was missing entirely the internal control, so all the lateral movement and proliferation of threats. And we also know there are a lot of solutions like ET, IoT solutions that are today connected to an actor. I made just some example, from telecamera to printers to DVR for network, and a lot of this solution that no one can monitor, or also the manufacturing that are today, the machinery of manufacturing that are also connected and no one can monitor it. So LECS is a network detection and response technology that can help people to analyze deeper the internal traffic. And another problem that we had analyzed was the thousands of log generated by solution like NDR solution, and also the needs of expertise, time, dedicated personnel to analyze all these kind of logs. And last but not least, was the excessive cost to manage a network detection and response solution. This brings some effects. Of course, first of all, was the undetected vulnerabilities, because no one was seeing or checking the internal traffic. And also today, thanks to NIS2 regulation, DORA regulation, GDPR regulation, there are also penalties in case of missing of some feature of security. So from all this was born LECS. What is LECS? LECS is the world first plug-and-play cybersecurity black box. As we can say in this first phrase, we can find that LECS is literally a black box, so with a military approach. Technically speaking, means that LECS doesn't expose any port, protocols, services, nothing. Is literally blocked, so it guarantees a higher resilience of networking. It is a full automatic solution, so no configuration needed. Is inspired by military black box and is positioned inside a network, so it has a different point of view from any other solution like firewall and NDR NDR solution. So LECS can provide also network debugging and security together only in one solution, because of course, being positioned inside a network, we can monitor also not only the security aspects, but also even if there are some delays, some error in connectivities, and so on. Has also an automatic updates and of course provide 24 hours by 7 network monitoring. It has, as I said before, internal point of view and protects even where firewall and ADR or XDR cannot. I just made an example. There are a lot of solution that needs, of course, an agent to be installed. LECS, of course, is a black box, is hardware, and it's agentless and can provide the security to every environment, starting from IT to OT to IoT solution. For us, any MAC address, any IP has to be protected because, as we know, the attackers start always from the most easier devices they can start to attack an environment. They will not go directly to the main server that has all the policies of security. And also, so is very scalable even in critical and industrial environment. And it's very important to say that LECS is not only a probe, but is a detection and response. So we do an automatic and very fast response against any threat. So it's very complementary, is in with very any environment. Why? Because any vendor present inside of the network of the company is for us okay. The only requirement needs is to have a mirror port or spam port where we can analyze a copy of the traffic and has a standalone approach. Why this? This is very important for three main things. The first one is to keep the plug and play in LECS, because in case of other solution competitor, like I'm seeing fast in the chat, like Vectra, for example, um, they need to create an environment, an ecosystem where the probe talk with firewall, talk with the switch to say, okay, close this port, okay, with SNMP, I send a packet, so close this or apply this ACL on the firewall. But this is not very security by design approach because, of course, in case of point of failure inside my network, I can say, okay, the attacker will say, of course, you have an ecosystem. I take control of one of your ecosystem and all your security chain go down. With LECS that remain standalone and parallel to every solution inside, we maintain this resilience of security. And also another approach coming from offensive security was if the attacker knows that you have an ecosystem that talk, for example, the probe send by SNMP a command to firewall to close an ACL on the firewall, the attacker will try to interrupt that communication, and of course that means that you will not have a response by firewall because it will never receive the packet. As I said,
Sorry,
yeah,
Marco, we have some question in
yeah,
the chat. Can we give some answer or
yeah. I try
you?
to read.
Yeah, very very often we have some
No problem. It's
question
up.
about compare this
Yeah,
solution, this another solution
yeah, yeah.
in the world. Yeah.
No problem. I read. Yes, it's similar to Vectra. Today we are mainly competitor of Vectra AI and also Darktrace. But as we can see after, we have a different positioning on the market because we are not working only with big corporate and large enterprise, but we can also go to small and medium enterprises thanks also to the plug and play approach. To the second one, yes, it's possible to use LECS as a virtual appliances. So we have also virtual machine. And of course, in that case, we are losing the black box approach, but of course you can use it. Exactly, in terms of price and also yes, yeah, we also have a lot of battle cards with other solution, but the main KPI that LECS brings are of course the easy of use, because as we are going to see is very simple to read the data, is very simple to bring LECS to your customers with a different solution, plug and play approach, military black box, so is usually very different from others. And also, for example, comparative to a very big vendor that usually brings one big device in the core switch, thanks to LECS, we can go deeper and capillary more in the network. And for example, in a large company that has maybe a multinational company, no? So they have a lot of headquarters. Thanks to LECS, you can provide security very fast because you can ship LECS to your headquarter, I don't know, in America, in South Africa, in Australia, and so on. And you know that with just 10 minutes, as we are going to see here, you bring a military NDR solution literally in any kind of environment. Because literally once you have setted the mirror port on the network switch, you just need to plug one cable and you have installed a solution like LECS that provide network defense, network control, and not only this, also log notarization. What this means, we won an international competition with moreover 1,200 companies all around the world in Switzerland. Why? Because LECS can certify mathematically the logs more critical of LECS. Of course, is not a sign, a digital sign, but is a distribution in a private blockchain that certify what is happened. So that means that these logs are this and no one can change it. So for all insurance and legal approach like GDPR and NIS2 is very important to certify the log, and you can demonstrate that that logs is not been compromised. All the job done by LECS, of course, is visible and manageable by a dashboard. The dashboard, of course, is multi-tenant, so you can log in as partner if you are a partner authorized of LECS, or you can log in with the user. So also, of course, the end user can check all the dashboard, and it's AI based because we know that the time is precious. And mainly for IT managers and also partners, a solution like an NDR generate a lot of logs. So that's why we implemented a very advanced AI engine that brings you all the most important features, news, and say, okay, there are 60,000 of logs, but these 6 or these 10 logs maybe need a request of a deeper analysis, or maybe this is critical, you have to do something, or I saw this strange movement, maybe it's better if you can check. Okay, so we can provide that double view. The first one is, of course, the easier way. So you can log in, check all if is everything good, and you can leave. The second one, you can go deeper and check very bit for bit information, considering that LECS provide a deep packet inspection. So it provides you a lot of information about what is happening inside. Of course, correlated to dashboard, there is also an entire ecosystem of notification. So there are emails, instant messagings, and now it's in a release, is in beta, also the mobile app for Android and iOS. And also another very important aspect are the automatic and manual report that you can generate with one click, and you can find also an executive summary powered by AI. So that means a lot of our partners provide this kind of report to their customers just by clicking a button, selecting the calendar of the period that you want to check, and LECS will provide you a very nice report graphically and with also the very important information. And as I was saying before, there are also the API. So in case of integration with SOC or SIEM, there is no problem because it's okay that LECS is blocked, closed, and so on, but you can also integrate all the log powered by LECS inside a SIEM or a SOC. I try to read. I saw in the chat. Hello, additional questions about the functionality presence IDS. Yeah, of course, it's possible to have the error span in the switch. Yes, Lex is a hybrid from IDS, IPS, NDR, and network monitoring solution all in one, and is plug and play. That's one of the very important things. Yes, virtual appliance there are. So without any problems, we are actually working Proxmox, VMware, and the main hypervisor present. Virtual machines, all-in-one deployment support. Yeah, convenient in POC. Yeah, another important things for deployment is also the easy of doing a POC to the customers, because you can install a LECS not for resale appliances in your customers, let it work for 7, 15, 20 days about, we suggest. And after this, you can show a very nice report with all the logs, all the evidence of what has happened inside the network. And as I can always say, if the customer doesn't have an NDR solution, you will, of course, check something strange inside the network. And this has a very big conversion rate from POCs to deal. Okay. Other approach of LECS inside the network, we never let open a connection to our data center. There are also, as we can see, on-premise version, because we can find LECS in two ways. The first one that send logs always in our data center settled in Italy, or keep all the telemetries that he recognizes inside, so on-premise. Also, for example, updates are done by AI. So it's always LECS to choose the best timing to perform all the updates. And also, I remember there is a armored black box solution, so it's not directly attackable. Mainly, LECS doesn't respond even to a ping, for example, and in the network you cannot find LECS as LECS, but you will find it as computer or servers to try to depict all the attackers. I read another questions. I guess the price should interact if customers decide to go with physical appliance. As you said, black box features is exclusive for the physical version. Yeah, exactly. The price is a little bit different from hardware appliance or virtual appliance. And but of course, in case of virtual machine, so in the virtual LECS, you lost the black box approach, and so that's why the black box approach is only mainly for the physical version, and is one of that we sell more. The difference of price is very low, because as you can imagine, the value of LECS is not the hardware. That is, as we are going to see, is only a way to settle and install LECS inside the network. But the value of LECS is all the patent behind and all the technology and all the research and development processes behind. Yeah, we have comparisons, but mainly there are not very different things. First, maybe is the hard of installation, the difficulty of installation, and of course the fact that positioned in a hypervisoring of customers, you will for obviously reason expose services. Price could be discussed. Yes, we have you mainly consider that with, for example, Darktrace, we cost. It depends and kind of customers, but we can be the half of price until 1/4. And with Vectra a little bit less, but of course we are cheaper than they, but providing also technology also valid. We did a lot of penetration tests in a lot of environment where were positioned our competitor also, like Vectra or Darktrace, and the results were very, very interesting. And another key that I want to add is, as I said before, that we can also go on small, medium enterprises. So for us, bring LECS inside a network with 200 hosts is possible, and we are not very expensive like others. Okay, and after I will go also to go deeper in the products of LECS and how we go on go to market. I go back to presentation. So what we find inside the LECS, three main engines called the Specto, Raisis, and the Tyresia. Specto is the detection engine. Raisis is the autonomous response of LECS, and the Tyresia is the brain of LECS, is the artificial intelligence engine. So how we do detection? We are not based only in AI. Why? Because we know that AI today generate a lot of false positive, and this is a very problem to IT manager and partners that have to manage this kind of solution. So we of course use it. We of course invest a lot in AI, but we did a triangulation of view about the threat. So we start from static analysis. So that means that we brings all the threat intelligence, so all the IOC, CVE, RCA, malicious IP, and all coming from the threat intelligence, and we buy it from European, Asia, and America market. So that means that LECS 2 minutes after it has been connected, if pass an eternal blue or a malware or a ransomware or a malicious IP, LECS can see it and doesn't need time of learning. We also have an heuristic analysis. This is we won a lot of awards with our research and development team because we do an heuristic analysis. Also, is a very advanced mathematical calculation of morphologic and entropic of the network packets. So it's like an analysis of how the network traffic is composed, how big are the packets, how is the change and the entropy and the morphology of this kind of packet. The Cisco, for example, at the start of this year says that to date, to analyze and find the most difficult and stronger threats was easier to check it from NOC, so Network Operation Center, than SOC, because of course when the threat is very advanced, you can maybe see strange movement more from the analyze of the networking more than, for example, the security. And of course, above all, there is the AI. Of course, it's based on generative models. So LECS, once it's installed, will generate a model with this stagionality. And of course, once it's ready, this doesn't mean that it's finished, because LECS will always increase and learn from networking thanks to neural network approach. So LECS will become a brain inside the network of your customers that will increase and brain and study and to be always more punctual and capillary to analyze the threats. So we can see here some of our results in a very big environment is a pharmaceutical multinational company that in some cases competitive to other solution, we had 87% less of false positive. Of course, it's impossible to say, no, we have zero false positive, because I will be not the true, but we have, thanks to this triangulation of engine, we have reduced a lot the generation of false positive in the logs. We have seen how LECS does the detection, but let's check how LECS respond to a threat, because as we say, we are not only a probe. So once the system responds and detect a threat, it will respond in a calculated and a measured way. And it, of course, depends on the type, the severity, the protocols, and LECS will do it instantly in very, very few milliseconds. So once the classification has been done, and we use from a scale from 1 to 5, LECS will do a packet injection inside a network, because of course we are in parallel of the network, and crafting this kind of packets. And of course we do also the standard countermeasures, maybe for example, the TCP reset, once we are talking about TCP. But in our research and development team, we have implemented a lot of a new tech solution to craft packet in some way, to work with also with other protocols, and try to interrupt the proliferation of the threat. So how we can go on the market, thanks to a very plenty of products that we have called LECS platform, starting from micro to platform small and medium and large, and also with a corporate that are on-premise. So this doesn't mean that the smaller version is different from the corporate version, because what we have to do was to bring the security to everyone. So all what we say before this is a part of our patent. So we say, okay, we have patent something, but I know that, for example, for a company that has inside 100 or 200 hosts, is the same has the same problem of a company that has 10,000 hosts. So of course the difference is that for a small medium company, I maybe just need a less powerful hardware performance, while in the corporate version, I will need, for example, a rack mount server, 2 unit with 256 gigabyte of RAM to create models. But the same technology, we provide it to corporate and also small, medium enterprises and also micro enterprises. That's why it was a key point in selling and proposition to any kind of customers of LECS. First of all, for the plug and play, and second one, because I remember that, for example, a lot of corporate and enterprise maybe doesn't have only one headquarter. In case of they say, okay, I will buy LECS for my first infrastructure that has, I don't know, 5,000 hosts. Okay, we set a server rack unit with all the hardware characteristics for that kind of network. For example, with fiber port, 10 gigabit or until 40 gigabit. Okay, for analysis. But also the same company say, okay, but I also have, for example, 2 branch office with 300 hosts. Okay, but always that branch office usually talk with the main corporate. Maybe is one network, maybe is connected by VPN. And so it's very important also to cover even the branch office. And how we do it? Okay, in the main company, you set the LECS platform corporate, and in the branch office smaller, you can install the LECS platform micro or the LECS platform small and medium, for example. But the technology provided is always the same. So that's why we closed a lot of deal with the multinational pharmaceutical. We closed a deal with a lot of distributed company all around the world, because the CISO, the CIO say, okay, I have to put a standard in my security. I know that with LECS, I bring a military technology. I can install it in plug and play. So I just ship it to, well, I don't know, America, Argentina, South Africa, Australia, Asia, or wherever you want. And in 10 minutes in every environment, they can install it. I have a multi-tenant, so I am the main company. I can manage all the others and check how the security status of all my branch are. And also they can check their even company. And I have a standard of security in very easy way, very easy implementation, and with a very competitive cost. Because as I said before, a solution like Darktrace or Vectra are very expensive and doesn't allow this. So that's why LECS has a very key in selling, for example, in that cases, but also in case of you go to as medium enterprise, it's hard usually to say, okay, I propose to you a new ADR solution or a new XDR solution or a new next generation firewall, because they will say, okay, I have already another next generation firewall, I have already another ADR or XDR solution. We know there are plenty of vendors that works in ADR or XDR solution. But with LECS, you can provide something new, because to date, even in a small and medium company, it's very hard to find someone that has a network detection and the response solution. So you can provide a very innovative solution. And also, I also suggest that with LECS or with the NDR solution, you close the circle of security, because we know with firewalling, you have the perimeter of the network protected. With the endpoint, so ADR, XDR, you have the host protection. But what is moving inside your network, inside your IoT solution, inside your machinery of production, inside your IT, is really uncovered. So you just need to put an NDR solution like LECS. As I said before, there are, of course, the virtual LECS. So it's mainly an imaging that we provide, and you can log with the dashboard also. And we provide, of course, the minimum requirement of the machine. We today work with Proxmox, VMware, so the main hypervisor in the market. LECS is a validated technology. To date, we have customers in 24 countries, and we are, of course, as I said at the start of this webinar, in 19 countries. We space with customers in any kind of environment. So starting from multinational pharmaceutical, we are present in a lot of very important supply chain, like SpaceX, NASA, Central Bank Europe, government, public administration, main hospital, because I remember also in hospital there are a lot of radiography machine and so on that maybe you cannot set an agent inside. And so manufacturing and so on. So we are very present in any kind of environment and target market. This business model also is very simple and scalable, because we wanted to settle it in a very easy way. So it's a subscription with a minimum of 1 year to multi-year for have more discount that includes everything. So the dedicated hardware, as I said, as we see before, the LECS platform micro to small, medium, and large, the dedicated dashboard to centralize all the tenant, the app, and the detection and response engine are included, of course. You have the notification system, so all the included in messaging, email, and the app for Android and iOS that is in release in December. And also the updates. So you have also main from 3 to 6 updates by day, because of course, as I said, we buy the threat intelligence from all over the world, and there are a lot of the release time every 8 hours. And also the release of new engine, analysis, update to our AI, security, and also the hardware warranty in case of hardware. Because as I said, in case of the customers as a license active, as vendor, we always guarantee the hardware. So a quick recap about the KPI of LECS, starting from the installation and difficulty time, because as I said before, LECS will not interrupt nothing. It will always guarantee a business continuity, because in phase of installation, you just need to settle mirror ports on the switch and connect LECS that, and in the start will be, of course, in only probe mode. And even if, for example, in case of broke of the hardware, the network will continue, because LECS is only in parallel, is not pass through like a firewall. And also the NDR network protection. So LECS protection for all kind of device, even if even in all that you cannot install nothing, because, for example, they doesn't have an operating system. And also all we have done. I saw some questions. Can you explain elaborate on how exactly you cover endpoints in terms of VM, ADR with your appliance? If a customer is being InfoSec infrastructure from scratch, exactly you can cover with LECS. Okay, I try to answer very, very fast in now. And after, of course, we can have a follow on after the webinar. LECS provide also security to endpoint, for example, where you can have where you have an ADR, because we know, and our team, for example, but we know everyone do. Thanks to ChatGPT, today is pretty easy to write a malware that with polymorphism and other technical cannot be detected by ADR solution. For example, our team in 1 hour, thanks to ChatGPT, also write a script that an ADR cannot detect. And why is very important to have LECS? Because LECS is not working inside, of course, the machine, but works once the threat put a feet out of that host. So, for example, a threat, a ransomware, a malware, to spread inside the network has to establish a connection. And to establish a connection, the threat has mainly to do a scan, has to go on the switch and start to communicate with the other inside the network. And that's the way and the moment where LECS intervene and say, okay, why you are talking with him, for example, is statical, why you are doing a scan, why you run a probe of Eternal Blue, why you are launching this attack, why even this that is not security. Because if I say, okay, this machine open an RDP connection to the server, but why this computer is doing this at the 3 of the night, and for example is the computer of the secretary that has never done an RDP connection to the server. So that's why LECS is very important, because thanks to AI and models, thanks to static analysis, thanks to entropic analysis, can provide you all this information and stop the proliferation of the threat at the start. And also in terms of VM, of course, to cover the virtual machine, you have to set the virtual machine of LECS. Of course, if there is the InfoSec infrastructure, or there is a traffic, ciphered traffic, it's obviously that LECS cannot see the traffic that is secured or encrypted. Yes, we think that endpoint will still be encrypted even through the malware. I try to read that, sorry. So if I bring some ransomware on a USB stick, the endpoint will still be encrypted. Even to the malware itself, it will not reach any outside. Okay, yes, of course, in case 0, the single host, in case of a USB stick with a ransomware inside, is not a job of LECS, because LECS is covering the network. So the patient 0 will be, of course, infected. We are going to intervene once the threat will go out. I just do a use. Will tell you a use case, because anyway we have finished the presentation. For example, in a multinational company in Brazil, there were a new IT manager. And what happened? There was a NAS positioned outside the network, was disconnected. The new IT manager say, oh, okay, we have a NAS, we can reuse it. Maybe without thinking about why that NAS was not connected to a network, as he connected the NAS to a network, the threat inside that NAS that was has been disconnected, of course, because it has a problem with a ransomware. Once he plug in the network, the ransomware first done was to spread, was to try to reach other hosts. In that case, for example, in the NAS, you cannot put any ADR solution. In the NAS, you cannot set an XDR or ADR solution because it's not it is not have an operating system that allow to do this. And the proliferation, of course, is a very important problem. LECS, of course, in that case, this company, of course, has also a SOC, but the SOC tell us that LECS was the first to say where the problem was, and of course, LECS also tried to interrupt the spread of the ransomware, giving time to SOC to do his job, and of course calling the company and say to disconnect immediately that this NAS. But also, thanks to LECS, they say we have a very fast notification, and of course, thanks to LECS, has blocked the connection of that NAS, so we had time to take control of the threat before it will spread and do a very problem inside the network. Okay, so as I remember, LECS is a patented technology. We are compliant with a lot of the NIST and NIST regulation. And as I said, is in release in December, the new application to check and monitor LECS. And we are also working, thanks to our research and development team, to AI agent. But I want to say, we are not working, is not an ADR or XDR solution, because as I said, we don't want to be a competitor of any vendor of ADR or XDR solution. LECS agent, I can give you just a few tips, will work not as a recognition of malware, but will be an agent that integrate logs for LECS hardware for NDR solution, but also LECS AI agent will be an AI brain inside any computer. Okay, I have finished this presentation. So thank you to everyone for your time, for your interest, and also for your questions. It will be a pleasure also to have maybe in the future, next days, please contact Softprom for any questions, and we will be happy to answer with my more technical team, because I'm an hybrid. I was technical, but today I mainly covered the sales of this company. And of course, thank you, Dimitri. Literally, if you have any other questions, doubt, I'm here. I try to check the questions. Yes, integration with SIEMs. Yes, there are, of course, because I said LECS is very blocked, closed, and so on. But we have, for example, plenty of integration. For example, starting from Sophos integration with SIEM. For example, we did already integration with the FortiSIEM of Fortinet. And of course, we have web API. So for any logs powered by LECS, we can integrate it in ciphered JSON. So we are literally integrable integration with any vendor. Yeah, with Splunk, XCM. Yeah. We have a lot of integration. Of course, we can check it after with my more technical team, but I know that we did a lot of integration with Splunk and so other most famous today and spread solution for integration of logs. Thank you.
Marco, I think I have a question too.
Yeah.
With my colleague
good.
Andrei Prihodko, we have many presentation and demonstration for customer or partner in Kazakhstan or Azerbaijan. So very often we have some question In your presentation, we can find IE engine, what you use in your solution. And very often we have question about what is it? I mean, this is your own IE engine, or you take some popular IE engine and integrate in your solution?
No, is our main is our AI engine because even in this case, and I will let also talk maybe I will provide you a document about it because, for example, we work in a different way from others in generating the model because usually when you generate a model and say, okay, these things is leaving the model, it generates immediately a false positive, okay? Because I say, for example, a new connection or a new things. So we worked in a very different way, maybe very innovative way, and that's why also we can reduce the false positive. So I will provide you more technical details, Yaroslav and
Okay.
Andrei, with a document, of course.
And we have another question in chat.
Yeah, I was reading. Okay, what about XDR that have? Yeah, okay, very good questions. Thank you. The differences is, of course, there are, for example, in that questions, if I have received correctly the question, yeah, there are some XDR solution that also integrate like a network and detection solution. The difference, what could be an argument for LECS here is that okay, that in the host you can install also the agent for NDR solution, but you always remain uncovered in all appliances inside your network that doesn't have operating system. Because you cannot install, for example, the XDR solution in the radiography machine. You cannot install the XDR solution in the camera, in the printers, and in all the IoT that are installed inside your network that can also be a vehicle to to go inside your network and starting to move, maybe, for example, with art poisoning, art spoofing, so disturbate the communication inside. So of course you can have XDR solution with NDR, but are always based on agent. And the question to is how you cover the devices without an operating system where you cannot install an agent. You can do it only thanks to one hardware solution that monitor the infrastructure and the network where this solution works. I hope I have answered your question and I have understood correctly your question. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe if you want, I give you, because I have asked to my colleague while we were talking, a very, 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 very fast overview of the dashboard. I don't know if you have 5 minutes. Yeah, I think yes.
I think we can finish now. Yes.
Questions? Maybe yes.
Yes.
I share.
I don't see any questions. Ярослав, будем завершать.
Не, Ольга, подождите, если есть еще 5-10
окей.
минут, а у нас есть еще, Марк хочет показать shortly demonstration. So, yeah, we have 5-10 minutes. So
Yes,
if
of
you
course.
can, please, yeah.
Perfect. I will go very, very fast and just to do an overview. This is, of course, a demo, so all the data are loaded randomly. But as you can see, you have plenty of information, how the network is going. And as you can see, there are critical, high alert and movements that are our code to analyze and classify a network. There is the RESIA, there is the passive vulnerability score, because of course LECS is not a probe that recognize the network and say, hey, there is a problem because, I don't know, I do some packet injection and say, okay, this is the vulnerability assessment. But of course, passively, while LECS list and all the traffic can say, I've seen that, for example, use SMB1, so that is too old, is maybe dangerous for your network. You have, maybe I see an update of Java 1.8 that is very old version. Maybe it's better if you update it to newer version to not be passable of CVEs and so on. And also, of course, we have AI that loads for us and read all the data. So in this case, it is providing us all the information about the IP that generates more problems inside the network, if there were critical, and what kind of logs has been generated. And also we can go deeper in analysis. For example, we do a bigger slot. Okay, that's how, of course, as you can see, the details is malware response test because it's only demo dashboard, but the information are timestamp, the source IP, port, destination IP, at which VLANs the logs was part, the protocol, the application, the details. We also have an LLM AI to explain what this log means. In this case, of course, it doesn't work because it's only a test. And you can also have more details, the raw payload info, in case of, maybe I can check here if there is something. Yeah, for example, in this case, there is more information. There is, for example, a web server for 403 forbidden, from which IP, from to how IP, and I can check all, for example, HTTP traffic, which files has been moved, and so on. I can go very, very deeply. We also have some intelligence, as you see in the homepage. So we can see, for example, where there is a problem from all around the world. For example, I can go here in Germany and say, okay, what is here? Okay, I have the public IP from where maybe a command and control arrived inside my network. And of course, I can do an IP inspection that is not only a who is, but we maintain the past 5 years to check if behind that public IP, that of course, if you go in any Talos intelligence, will have a low reputation IP, check what is happening. We also have, for example, in this case, analyze punctual by IP. So I can check, for example, one single IP. I don't know if I have something maybe here. Okay, no, this is IP doesn't generate any kind of logs. We also have the AI. So we can see the pattern learned by LECS AI, so from Theresia, the match of the logs, what is stranger in my network, for example, the day of the week, that see maybe in Monday there was from this kind of log a strange movement never done before. And also the andament, for example, in this case, you have the past 3 days of log, and see, in that case, we have a peak of anomaly, as we can see here, how the wave of my network was going, and we see that at the 9 of in the morning of the 7th of October, there was a peak of strange movement. And of course, after we can go deeper to analyze. There is also the network section to analyze all the IP inside my network, the retransmission, the RTT, jitter, how my network is composed. I can zoom it and see how it's moving inside, how many background noise, that for us noise is, for example, the broadcast, multicast traffic. We have also infrastructure log that is, for example, not for security, but are for, of course, networking. So, for example, as you can see, excessive retransmission, or I don't know, lost ACK with wrong sequence, for example, in a TCP communication, is an extract like you have a Wireshark inside your network, but read by AI that provides you easy implementation. So the manager of notification, response, and suppression of, for example, maybe false positive, you can say, okay, I saw this malware command and control, but maybe is, I don't know, a script that I have in my machine. I can say, okay, apply this ACL, for example, from this IP to this IP. If you see this one, do not respond to the threat. We have also an advanced visualizer where we can go a lot of analysis and check all the kind of logs in my network. Is a drag and drop, so there is filter by type, date, detail, IP, subnet, and so on. We also have, for example, a heat map where we can see, for example, in this log where when is most happening, and of course the ticketing, the manager of account in the settings, and so on. Okay, I just do a very quick presentation. I hope you appreciate it. I have finished it.
Yeah, I want to add more information about architecture and POC, but I think I talk on another language.
Okay.
Коллеги, касаемо пилотов, то, что показал сегодня Марко, в первую очередь решение заточено всегда на железку. И, как уже сказал Вячеслав Нозиков, наш представитель в Казахстане, железка в ближайшее время появится в Казахстане, ее можно будет брать на пилот. Я к тому, что консоль, которую по управлению показывал Марко, она находится в облаке. То есть это SaaS-консоль, куда вы подключаете свое устройство по серийному номеру и лицензионному ключу, и далее продолжаете управлять этим решением. Но по факту все, что вам нужно сделать, это подключить это устройство одним портом в SPAN, вторым портом в сеть, и, в принципе, подключить его к менеджмент-консоли в облаке, чтобы управлять. Но у вас были очень часто еще вопросы касаемо виртуальных машин. Пилоты на виртуальных машинах мы также можем производить. Пару пилотов в том же Казахстане у нас уже было. Мы начинали с Вячеславом и с партнерами. Следовательно, тут ситуация следующая. Если для пилота вам не принципиально, вам выделяют шлюз, который сопоставим с железкой в виде виртуальной машины, вы ее разворачиваете, подключаете к своей инфраструктуре и подключаете к облачной консоли, где вы продолжаете управлять данным устройством. Но если вам принципиально, либо если у заказчика стоит такая позиция, либо если это банк и так далее, то у вендора, у LECS есть непосредственно вторая виртуальная машина. По сути, это та же управляемая консоль, только она будет находиться не в облаке, а находиться у вас. Таким образом, вы разворачиваете две виртуальные машины. Это управляемую консоль локально у вас, и это шлюз локальный вместо железки на виртуальной машине. То есть можем делать это и гибридно, можем это делать все в вашей инфраструктуре, но зачастую, чтобы было просто, быстро и легко протестировать продукт, удобнее всего это занести в серверную железку и подключить ее к облачной консоли, которую выделяет вендор. Если же, к примеру, у вас нет возможности занести железку, вы можете развернуть виртуальный шлюз, подключить к облачной консоли. Если прям и с этим есть проблема, и нельзя отправлять информацию в облако, вы можете и то развернуть виртуально, и все это синтегрировать и протестировать у себя. То есть все на момент пилота, на старт пилота мы это все обсуждаем, мы предлагаем и, собственно, делимся там рекомендациями, документациями и подключаемся непосредственно к вам на встрече, чтобы это все развернуть и подключить. Okay, Marco. Yeah, I talk about POC and talk
Okay.
about management console in SaaS, management console in on-prem,
Very good.
hardware appliance, and virtual appliance. Because we start, I think, 2 POC in Kazakhstan, and we test management console in SaaS and gateway. I mean, LECS gateway, but we use not hardware, we use virtual appliance. Yeah. So
thank you so much, Yaroslav.
yeah, thank you too for this presentation, this webinar. Yeah, so thank you for your time. Thank you for your help. So I think we can finish. And if you have another question, I think we send you an email. And
Yeah, no
after
problem.
this webinar, I think we sent more information, maybe presentation, maybe some battle card to the customer who joined to this webinar
Yeah.
after this meeting.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for being here.
Yeah.